Hello and welcome to another video. I hope that you are all very well. Yesterday, being Friday the 3rd of July, NASP, which is the National Association of Strategic Partnership, conducted an interview with the DVSA, that's the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Agency. Several questions were asked during this interview, several questions that you will find extremely interesting. These questions include questions about face coverings, face shields, and temperature checking for driving tests. It includes a question on whether extended driving tests will be conducted. Extended driving tests are for people who've been banned from driving in the past. Questions on whether show me, tell me questions will still be carried out during the COVID-19 situation. And the possibility of the theory certificates being extended. There's questions about key worker driving tests, about what is happening in the near future. There is questions about seat coverings, disposable seat coverings and beaded seat coverings. And also there's questions about regional lockdowns, including Leicester. The answers to these questions will be here throughout this video, so please do watch the whole video so you do not miss out. If you're not a subscriber to this channel, then now is the time to do so. Please hit the subscribe button now and get the bell notification hit as well. So here's the introduction to the interview conducted by NASP with the DVSA and the first question on face coverings.
Good afternoon, I'm Olivia Baldock-Ward from the Driving Instructors Association, and I'm joined today by my colleagues from NASP and the DVSA to get answers to some of the many questions we've been asked from our members. NASP is the National Association Strategic Partnership, who between us represent 3/4 of driver and rider trainers in the UK. NASP are also a Tier 1 stakeholder with the DVSA, plus we also have representation on the DfT Road Safety Delivery Group. NASP comprises of the ADI National Joint Council, Driving Instructors Association and the Motor Schools Association for GB. I'm joined today by Lynn Barry, Chair of the ADI NJC, and Peter Harvey, Chair of the MSA GB. The three associations each rotate who is in the chair currently. At the moment it is the DIA, and NASP would like to thank DVSA for attending this meeting today. I'll next introduce Mike Warner, who is the Senior External Affairs Manager at DVSA, who will in turn introduce his colleagues to DVSA. Mike.
Hello everybody, thank you very much for the invitation from NASP, really very much appreciated. In terms of who's joining us today, we've got some very familiar faces. We've got Mark McGee, Head of Driver Policy, Mark Wynn's joining us as Chief Driving Examiner, Jackie Turland's on call as the ADI Registrar, and Nigel Robinson, ADI Endorsement Manager. Focus today, we're not really going to go over all the stuff you've already had. You've already had our standard operating procedures, the briefing pack, and the many communications that we've sent out directly to yourselves as ADIs. We're not going to go over all of that again. I know you want new information, not just to rehash the stuff we've already put out. So the main focus today is literally just to go straight into a Q&A and give you the answers that you need. So we're just going to jump straight into it.
Okay, thank you. So the first question today from us is, if we are to wear face coverings, will we be allowed to wear face visors to work? Would a candidate be allowed to wear one for a driving test, and would an examiner wear one?
Hello, I'm Mark Wynn, DVSA's Chief Driving Examiner, and this question falls to me. So as far as face coverings are concerned, each individual instructor will need to make their own mind up about the safety measures that they want to put in place for them as an individual as part of their running their business. As far as driving tests are concerned, we won't be issuing our staff with face shields, but we will allow a candidate to wear one if they choose. we will remind the candidate or point out to the candidate that this could increase the risk posed by if there was a collision or by, for example, an airbag going off if they're wearing a face shield. But as far as we won't stop them wearing them, but we don't recommend wearing them because of the reasons around airbags going off. The face covering question. So thank you for helping me get it around the right way. So the face covering question, we will expect everybody to wear a face covering on test unless they've got a medical reason for not being able to wear one. If you've got a candidate, a pupil with a medical reason for not wearing a face covering, it's really important that you let us know at the point of booking the test so that we can make sure the examiner knows about it and that we line up an examiner who is okay with taking a candidate out who hasn't got a face covering on.
So there you have it. My take on that is that face coverings are essential. They are compulsory for the practical driving test. Face shields, it's up to the individual. If you want to wear the face shields, then you can do so, but it's at your risk. What's your take on it? Please comment in the text below. I would love to hear your comments. Next, we have Mark Wynne. Again, he's the Chief Driving Examiner from the DVSA, and he's going to answer a question on checking the temperature at driving tests.
How do ADIs manage the risk of examiners getting into their cars? Will they have the temperature taken down, for example?
So it's important that that the cars are kept nice and clean, and we follow the guidance that the government have given all along about washing your hands frequently and things like that. Our standard operating procedure covers that. It's been reviewed by Public Health England to reduce the risk of contamination as far as we can through things like face covering and social distancing and regular hand washing. We don't expect ADIs or driving examiners to have their temperatures taken. The advice from Public Health England is that's not the best way of identifying and preventing the virus from spreading. So follow the rules and the guidance in our standard operating procedures should help us stick with that.
I am shocked. No temperature checks. It's such a simple procedure to implement. But then, as Mark said, according to Health England, temperature checks is not the best way to stop the spread of the coronavirus. However, I do believe that it plays an important part. I mean, if you think about it, airports all over the world do temperature checks on passengers. Anyway, I suppose that's the DVSA for you. So let's move on to the next question. It's going to be answered by Mark McGee. He's the head of policy change in the DVSA, and he's going to answer the question on can theory tests be extended.
Mark McGee, this is a question for you. This is a question we've all been asked many times. What is the news on theory test certificates? And are there going to be any extensions given?
The 2-year validity period of the theory test certificate is set out in legislation. Obviously, this is so that the candidates' both theoretical knowledge and their ability to obviously identify developing hazards remains current. To extend the validity would therefore require a legislative change. There's no news on it as at today. Hopefully we will be able to provide some information next week.
Thank you very much.
Well, that sounds like great news to me because it shows that the DVSA are seriously thinking about the matter. And they say that they're going to give us a decision by early next week. So within a week, we will know, and fingers crossed, let's all be positive and let's hope that theory tests will be extended. Okay, without ado, let's move on to the next question on extended driving tests. As I said earlier, these are for candidates who have held a license before, and have been disqualified from driving and have been ordered by the court to do an extended driving test. Extended driving tests usually last for just over an hour.
Mark Wynne, I think this one's for you. Will extended tests still go ahead due to the extra time involved?
Yes, extended tests will still go ahead. All of our test slots now have got some increased time built into them, so we should be able to fit extended tests in without any problems at all.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, my advice there is drive safely before and after the driving test, and you will not get disqualified, and therefore you will not have to take an extended driving test. That's it. That's my advice. Drive safely. Okay, without ado, let's move on to the next question on whether show me, tell me questions will still be conducted during this COVID situation.
This one, I think, is probably for Mark Wynne this time. Give you a break, Mark. It's about the show me, tell me questions, Mark. Will they still be going ahead at the beginning of the test? And if they are, would it be of any help that instructors maybe went forward, opened the bonnet, done those kind of things to save having to clean things twice? Would that be something that could be considered?
So yes, the show me, tell me questions will be going ahead as normal. We're not changing any of those. And whilst it's handy if the ADI is in the vicinity, we still want to maintain all that social distancing. So we do not want them to come and open the bonnet. The candidate should be able to do that in the normal way, providing the ADI is around so that if there's a problem that the examiner can't overcome, that they're nearby, we'll just carry on as normal.
Okay, thank you.
So the show me, tell me questions will still be carried out as usual. My advice to you is learn the show me, tell me questions thoroughly, as first impression is usually the last impression. Okay, let's get moving to the next question, which is about key workers, and that will be answered by the DVSA Head of Policy.
Mark, this one's for you as well, I think. Looking towards the near future, if you like, it's to do with key worker tests. What's the provision going to be for them?
Key worker tests, as I said earlier, do continue. Obviously, critical workers can continue to apply for an emergency driving test through the online booking service. Obviously, Peter, I'm pretty sure you've got the email address, but obviously happy for that to be shared with your members going forward. Under phase one, obviously, of testing, we will look to obviously increase the number of those tests that we deliver in the next couple of weeks to obviously try and get most of them done. But obviously we appreciate there are certain sectors out there at the moment who still have key workers who are looking for tests, particularly around the ambulance service, and we're still doing our best for them to make sure they get the service that they need.
Okay, so Mark mentioned an email address for key workers. Unfortunately, I do not have access to this email address at the moment. I know nothing about it. Listening to Mark was the first time I know about an email specifically for key workers. However, I will find out, and as soon as I find out, I will post it on YouTube. So if you're not a subscriber, then please do subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, so as soon as I get some new information, then you will not miss out on it. Okay, let's move on to the next question about disposable and beaded seat covers.
In regards to seat covers, I think this is one for you, Mark Wynne. What's DVSA's advice with this, covering disposable plastic or disposable and beaded seat covers?
Thanks, Eva. So as far as seat covers are concerned, you can see from our standard operating procedure, the advice for DVSA staff is that they're discretionary for car tests. In other words, you can choose if you fit a disposable seat cover or not. But due to the risk of slips, trips and falls, then we won't be doing that for LGV tests. where it won't be happening. So you may see it in car tests. You are less likely to see it in LGV tests. If the instructor's got a seat cover fitted as part of their own arrangements, then this should be fine. It should be quite acceptable. But if it's, for example, if it's a particularly hot day and there's a discussion between the ADI and the examiner at the time, then that's fine. Generally got really good local relationships between examiners and ADIs. That sort of thing gets sorted out there. So hopefully that will be okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
So there you have it. Seat covers are no problem at all for car driving tests. Next, we have a question about regional lockdowns, including the lockdown currently in Leicester.
Hi, Mike. I think this one's for you as well. What's the DVSA's advice going to be for parts of the country that unfortunately finish up back in lockdown again, like Leicester, for instance?
It's a good question, a very good question, and one we've been grappling with ourselves. Obviously, it's slightly different at the moment because we're not actually restarted. I suppose the key question is how will we react when obviously we're back to full service. Obviously, seen our recent messages regarding Leicester. Obviously, put some messages out about that yesterday. Our services have reverted to critical workers only, and driving and riding instruction is limited to critical workers preparing for a test until after those restrictions are lifted. In terms of each case that's specific for Leicester, we'll assess local lockdowns on a case-by-case basis. At the moment, obviously, we're focusing on Leicester, but we are preparing for others as time goes on.
The situation is changing fast, and new rules and regulations are coming in and out so quickly. Please keep up to date with the latest information by subscribing to this channel and hitting the bell notification. There's no point subscribing if you don't hit the bell notification, because otherwise you may see the video a week later when it's out of date. So keep up to date by hitting the bell notification. Thank you for watching, and if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.